Good morning, world. It is a beautiful, rainy, dark, cloudy Bali day, and I am here in bed wanting to make a YouTube video. I have not done much yet. I had some food, but then went back to bed, and yeah, just feeling like raw and messy and wild, and have not showered yet, but that might happen maybe. So I'm here today to talk with you about sensuality. It is a topic that I've been asked to make more videos, more content on, and at the moment I'm actually leading a sensuality challenge. It's a 7-day free challenge on Instagram. So what I wanted to share with you about with this video is why sensuality is misinterpreted as sexuality, which I have talked about in other videos before, but also how you can start to connect with your sensual self without feeling like you have to be overtly sexual. If you're someone who maybe has some resistance to the idea of like hypersexuality, and for whatever reason, your culture, your beliefs, your values, but you do want to feel like a more sensual feminine expression, then it can be hard to like rectify that, to bridge those two things. Now, I would say to that, if there is an aversion to expressing your sexuality in certain ways, and I don't mean like, out in there in the world and being hypersexual, on social media or how you dress or anything like that. I just mean like sexuality and how you own your sexuality. Then I suggest looking into that and starting to uncover some layers of beliefs and programming and shame, because sexuality is not bad. It is beautiful. It is divine. It is juicy. It is pleasurable. It is growth filled. It is heart-based. And it doesn't have to be this dirty thing that we've been sold it to be. On one hand, we're sold it to be dirty and shameful. On the other hand, we're also sold it to be the kind of thing that we should aspire to look like and act like in order to, make the money, get the husbands or whatever, like just to manifest whatever, we're sold as the perfect life, or being just the perfect life. Okay, so with that aside done, I want to share, just about why this misconception has come about between sexuality and sensuality, and then how you can start to connect with your sensuality more without being sexual. So why this misconception came out is because sensuality leads to hypersexuality. And I mean hypersexuality in terms of like, maybe that's not the right term. It's like a heightened sense of your sexuality, a heightened experience of feeling energy moving through your body, of feeling pleasure physically as well, and of being present to the experience of sexuality being expressed, whether that's with yourself or another person. So sensuality leads to that. It's a bridge to that. There's a lot of sensuality within that. But you can have a very sexual thing happening and there being no sensuality at all. It can be very in the mind. It can be very numb even. So sensuality is the key for creating a more juicy and active sexual life, sexual expression, sexual enjoyment. But without sexuality, sensuality is purely, very basic actually, what it sounds like. It is purely connecting with your senses. Sensuality, your senses. So think about taste, touch, smell, see, hear. These are the ways that we experience the world. We experience the world through our senses in the human form. And so when we are experiencing things like a certain fragrance wafting through the room, touch, when we can see especially like the world around us, we feel present to what is here. Rather than say eating something but your mind being on your task list that your food is finished and you're like, I didn't even taste that food. right? I wasn't even present to what I was doing there. I was present to something else. So sensuality is presence. When you are really in what you are doing, when you are present with what you are doing, you get to feel it even more. You get to taste it even more. You can hear even more. This is essentially the root of mindfulness practices. Mindfulness practices are sensual practices. Now, there can be different ways of how you're embodying the mindfulness, because there can be mindful meditation when you're simply seated doing nothing else. But the embodiment of sensuality is really interacting with what you're eating, how you're tasting, what you're hearing, and what that elicits within your body if movement is there. Touching and responding to the very, very sensitive touch. So this is it. It's really becoming present to your experience of life. The more present you are to what is there, the more grounded and rooted in your body you are, the more out of your mind and your stories and the tension that can often come and stress and anxiety, the more you can enjoy what is happening right now. So sometimes we can feel like if it's leading to a sexual moment, if we're so in our heads, we can't really relax into feeling what's there. Sensuality, the practice of being present, the practice of feeling sensual in different moments, is what can heighten those experiences later on of sexuality. So that's it. Tips for you today. See how you can nourish all 5 of your senses. Now, unless you're fasting, you're going to be eating at some point. When you're eating, really taste what you're eating. Feel the texture. Keep it in your mouth a little bit longer than the natural urge to swallow, and see how that transports you deeper into this moment. When you're listening to something, you can do this by choosing things you love to listen to, like beautiful music. Can you listen to the layers of the music? Can you hear something you haven't heard before? Can you get lost in the sound? When you're smelling something, can you allow the smell to enter you, create an energy and emotion within you, or transport you to a memory? You can use things like incense and essential oil to make you grounded and rooted and enjoying that sense of, smelling and being in your body's own responses to it. What other senses do we have left? See. In the room you're in right now, after this video, look around the room and see if you can notice something you've never noticed about it before. If it's a very familiar room, this is a fun exercise to do. Are you really seeing what's there? Or are you tunnel vision, only seeing what your mind thinks is important? And finally, touch. I have a sensual exercise. It's a guided sensual touch video you might want to explore as well. But I would just encourage you to touch your own body in ways that you love to be touched, in ways that you would want someone else to touch you. Massage your body. Brush your hair with a little bit more care. Go slow. When it comes to feeling touch and heightening your sensitivity to feel, slowness is key. So you have all of the time in the world to enjoy what you're touching. I hope this is helpful. If you're interested to dive deeper into your sensuality, I'm actually creating a sensuality online course. It involves guided practices, a lot of explanations as well, and guidance in terms of unwrapping your beliefs and your limitations to feeling more sensual, whatever blocks may be there. and also meditations, and just like a guided experience really through what sensuality means to you, how to heighten it more, and how to make that so consistent that you are more sensual in your life than you are not sensual. That you are owning this feminine energy in a way that magnetizes yourself to yourself. Will it magnetize others to you? Definitely. But that's not the point, really. Like, how can you be so sensual that you feel delicious to yourself? If you're interested in that, I have a link to the pre-sale interest, which means you'll go on the list to get the first notice of when the course is almost done and have the opportunity to purchase it for a much lower price than it usually would be. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Mwah. Much, much, much love to you.